Good morning. Well, morning in the US. Good evening, Jane. How's everybody doing? I hope you had a wonderful Easter. We had pretty low key. We went to church and then came home and watched golf on TV, did a little Easter egg hunt. I still convinced my kids to do Easter egg hunts with me. Even though they're 16 and 13, we just have fun hiding them over and over again. So that's a lot of fun. Tradition I'm not ready to let go of. What else do we do? I did some work on Project Blog, and I made a really yummy ham for dinner. And yeah, that was our Easter for the year. The kids are on Easter break now, so they'll be home for this week. Hi, Jane. How was your Easter? I saw you did a blog post on it, but haven't been able to read it yet. So, so we're going on a college tour tomorrow, and the kids have some activities planned with friends. My husband and I are going to a concert on Thursday night, and not too much. Oh, my parents are coming into town. We're going to have dinner with them. They live in Arizona, and they're passing through on their way to somewhere else, so we'll get to see them. And my kids don't know that yet, but they're still asleep, so hopefully they're not hearing me. So that'll be fun. Hey, Jane. Jane, thank you for commenting on Sarah's posts. I haven't had the opportunity to get in there and talk to her yet, but I appreciate your being active in the group because it's really helpful for everyone to be engaging with each other and receive feedback and encouragement. And I just haven't had time yet. I've been just getting ready this morning. So it's 10 o'clock here. So I slept until 8:30 because I was up late last night and just haven't had a chance to do that yet. So thank you. Too much chocolate. Yep. Want to do some day trips. Well, I hope that you get out, at least for a bit. Okay, let's get started because I know you're busy, and like I was saying, I have spring break with my kiddos, so I'm gonna get this going so we can enjoy some of the day together. Okay, so week 2, a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll is what it's called. The reason it's called that is because for myself personally, that's what I am. My parents are very country. They do their own gardening. They raise animals for eggs. You too, yeah. And for other things that I'm not going to share. They hunt, they can, they, make their own preserves. So they're really country, and that's how I was raised. I grew up on a farm in Michigan, and then we moved to Arizona, and while our home wasn't quite in the country, our lifestyle was still very country. And then I moved to California, which of course is very metropolitan, and I fell in love with the skylines, and I fell in love with the lights, and every time I go to New York, I'm just in awe of the beauty of city life, and so my heart is also in the city. And I love high heels, and obviously when you're a country girl, you don't get an opportunity to wear those very often. So there's 2 pieces of me that, I struggle to balance, and that's what the whole branding is about. To be most authentic, you have to be everything that you are, and you bring all of that into your brand. And that's what makes it unique for you. Okay, there's definitely country girls out there who are doing the farming thing. We talked about the pioneer woman in this module. That girl, she is all country, right? She still looks good, but her clothing style and is just very different than what a city girl might wear with her cowboy boots and such. But her lifestyle is very country. And then you have, I don't remember, the egg canvas, I believe. it was another blog that we looked at, and she is very city, very sophisticated, very metro with her look and her presentation of her branding. And so those are two very distinct differences, and I'm somewhere in between. And so what my goal with my brand is to bring out both of those elements, because there's other women out there that are just like me. Maybe they're living in the country and they crave that city element, or maybe they're in the city and they're craving getting some property and moving out to the country and living a little more of that lifestyle. So while I'm not actually talking about what you do on a farm or what you do in a city, I'm bringing in the elements into the clothing and the outfits and the branding of my website with a mom in red high heels. And I feel like a lot of that is also coming in to play on Tammy Gibson online. So that's what your goal with branding is. It's just to be totally authentic and bring in those quirky little pieces of you that maybe are like water and oil, where they don't exactly mix, but you have figured out a way to make it mix. So we're going to talk about your branding story today. I just want to get in a little more into that. My dog is on my lap and I feel like he's about to jump off. Let me see what you said there, Jane. You relate city and country. Yeah. I think, that nature part of you, Jane, where you want to get out into nature, that's fulfilling that country part of you. And I think all of us have that within us in some way. So just, embrace that. You're living in the city, but you need to take that time to get out into the country and fulfill your soul, like we talked about last week. So your brand in your story, your personal story, is part of your brand. Now, you're not going to share every little detail of your life. You don't need to make every little detail part of your brand. But what you want to do is pick 3 to 5 stories, your own personal stories, and you want to incorporate those into your brand. So, for example, what elements of your life can you weave into your brand? And I'm going to share a few of my own with you that I used for our mom in red high heels, so you can understand this journaling exercise that I left within the module for you. So for me, when I was in high school, I struggled to be fearless but fit in with my fashion choices. And we didn't have a lot of money. In fact, we shopped at the thrift store for our back to school clothes until I had my own job and was making my own money. And then I had money to spend on name brands or whatever I chose. And at the time, the Limited was really big. And I remember one summer I spent $300, which was a lot to me at the time, on maybe 2 outfits there. And that was my school wardrobe for the year, right? I had to use those pieces and incorporate them into what I already owned. And that was probably my first eye-opening experience where I was like, I don't really need brand names. But to fit in, all the girls were wearing that brand. So I had to figure out my own personal balance of how I was going to work that. I didn't want to stand out too much, but I did, because here's what happened. I have a funny story. When I think I was in a junior, it was really big at the time to do your own denim bleaching and distressing, because this was before distressed jeans were popular. So my girlfriend and I only had, one good pair of jeans. I took my Levi's, which are not cheap, and we bleached them in the bathtub. And it's just kind of like tie-dye, where you tie off certain pieces so that the entire jean doesn't get bleached. And it turned out really spotted and kind of looked like a cow print. And I had to wear those jeans for the rest of the school year. And I remember we went to University of Arizona football game where all the college kids were, and you're already intimidated, right? Because you're a younger person and you kind of look up to all these cool college kids, and we sat in the college student section. And I remember getting comments from people, from guys in particular, as I walked by, like moo or nice cow pants and things like that. So it really affected my ego. And it really, made me feel embarrassed about what I was wearing. But I had to wear those jeans because they were the only jeans that I had. So I was stuck with them, and I learned my lesson about making mistakes and using my good fashion to experiment with. But it was a piece of me that I ignored for a long time. That piece of me was like, I wanted to experiment with fashion. I wanted to try these exciting trends. I wanted to, be a little bit out there, but I wasn't secure enough. So I shoved that down and just stuck with what was safe. So as I've grown older and as I've become more secure as a person, I've been able to experiment more with my fashion and experiment more with my look. And I've really incorporated a little bit of edginess into it, which is for me, that distinct element that I like. In fact, today I have on just this fun little sweater that's got these studs on it, and it's got the, cold elbow, I guess you would call it, look, which I think is really funky and fun and just a little bit edgy, and it's enough for me to make me feel like I'm embracing my own personal style. So that's one of my stories that I like to share about my fashion journey, and I share that in my blog and in helping other women to feel more secure with their fashion choices and their individuality. Let's see. Okay, so my next story is I went to college to become a PE teacher. It wasn't my first choice. I actually was going to... Sarah! Hi, Sarah! Glad you're here. I actually was going to go to college away from Southern California, in Central California. And I got into the college with the intention of joining their recreation program. And what I had dreamed of doing was creating fitness programs for corporate America. So a big corporation would hire me. I would be in-house fitness consultant and develop fitness programs for the CEOs and that type of thing. And that was the direction that I wanted to go. Well, I met my husband and fell in love, and he didn't want to leave the area, and so I ended up transferring my admission to the sister's campus, which was located closer to home down here, and they no longer had the rec program. And the next best thing was the physical education program, or the kinesiology program. It was actually the degree that I received, but with the emphasis on teaching. And so as you can imagine, with all of the classes and, the core curriculum that you have to do to get through that is very active, which means that my outfits had to be very active. I was wearing tennis shoes, sweatpants, shorts, gym clothes like every day. And this is before we had cute leggings and, like the Fabletics style. This was way before that. So, tracksuits, like were the matchy top and bottom. It was a really frumpy period of my life. And whenever I had the opportunity to not wear those clothes, like if I had my economics class or something, then, I would do that. But for the majority of time, I had to be in my sweatpants. And then it extended into my teaching career. So once I graduated and I was working on my emergency credential and I was in the field teaching elementary kids PE, I had to just continue the same fashion choices. And I continued along that, wearing the active clothes for 5 years while I taught, until I finally quit because I was pregnant with my first child. And I was, done with tennis shoes. I was done with sweatpants. I was done with t-shirts. I didn't want those in my wardrobe anymore. It took me probably 15 years to be comfortable wearing tennis shoes again as a fashion choice, and cute tennis shoes, not my workout shoes. And I still don't really wear regular t-shirts per se. I'll wear, they're kind of a t-shirt cut, but they have some kind of cool detail. So I really backed away from any of that type of fashion and what I felt made me look and feel frumpy. So I include that in part of my branding story. Now, before our first child was born, I did have a miscarriage, And it was about 2 years prior to my son being born. So at that point, I actually, when I had the miscarriage, you know, I think it was to protect my broken heart, I got really refocused on what I wanted for my life. I was kind of like, am I really ready to have kids? Maybe this is a sign that I'm not ready. There's still things I want to do. And part of that was modeling. When I was a kid, when I was a high schooler, I went to a modeling agency with my mom to see, you know, what my potential was as a model. Excuse me while I get a drink real quick. Excuse me. So when I got there, I think I was a sophomore or a junior, so 15 years old, and they told me, oh, you are too typical looking. You're not exotic looking enough. And that broke my heart. But they suggested that I try commercials, so I did. I went in and I did a reading, and it just wasn't for me. It wasn't what I wanted to do. So that affected my confidence as well. I'm so typical looking. I look like every other girl out there, right? So I took up after the miscarriage. Oh, hi, I'm back. I took up a modeling class. And so every day after work, I would go to this modeling class a few times a week or whatever, and really got back into taking care of my appearance and my fashion and wearing makeup. Probably for the first time in my life, I never really wore makeup prior to that. And just really embraced dressing cute. So when I wasn't at work wearing my sweats, I was trying to dress better and discovering my own personal style. So that's part of my branding story. And then after I had my son, I didn't want to be the stay-at-home mom that wore large t-shirts and sweats all the time. Obviously, I had an aversion to sweats by that time. So I had to discover for myself what fashion felt comfortable for my lifestyle, but also made me feel fabulous. And wearing high heels on the playground wasn't really an option. But when I went to the mommy groups, I didn't enjoy, you know, the styles that the other moms were wearing. I was looking for inspiration and I wasn't finding it, so I decided to create it for myself. And that's how I started A Mom in Red High Heels, was that journey of self-discovery for fashion as a stay-at-home mom. And over the years, I've, you know, evolved. My style has evolved, and I've learned what works, and I've learned what, you know, how not to try so hard, because for a while there I was trying so hard. Like, I am not going to be the stay-at-home mommy who dresses frumpy, right? I am going to be dressing cute and wearing high heels, doing my makeup, which led to overkill. You know, I couldn't go to the grocery store without some makeup on. And I've kind of settled down, and I think that came with wisdom and age. And so now I can go from the gym to the store and not have makeup on, and I'm okay with that. And I'm in my workout clothes, and that's fine. But I don't stay in that place. I don't live in my workout clothes. After my morning routine of going to the gym or stopping by the store or whatever, then I shower, get dressed, put my makeup on, and get dressed in an outfit that I feel good in. And then when I started developing A Mom in Red High Heels as a business versus a blog, and started becoming aware of coaches, I learned from them that how you dress is part of your brand. And I worked with this one coach where the woman only dressed in all white, like head to toe, every outfit. And it wasn't just her branding online look, it was her everyday life. She wore all white, head to toe. Another coach that I followed, she had turquoise in her branding color, so every image, every video, she was wearing turquoise. And I've noticed lately that she is getting away from that, and she's giving herself a little bit more freedom. She still has her personal style that matches her brand, which is very beachy, very relaxed, very zen. And I really love that she has stepped back away from the all turquoise, because I think that it gives her more freedom to be who she is, rather than putting herself into this box. And another coach that I followed for a while, it was all red. She would wear a red shirt for every video or every photo. And then she switched it up to yellow. And I believe that she's still doing that. I kind of stopped following her. But she was another example of where she took her personal style and incorporated it into her brand and vice versa. And we're going to get to that for you later in Project Blog. We're going to talk about your personal style, because I truly believe that your personal style is a part of your personal brand. And we don't want you to go over the top, but we want you to figure out who you are with your own look and how you present yourself to the world, because that's a reflection of your blog and your business and your website and your logo and the colors that you're using and the voice and the tone that you're using on your blog is a reflection of you as a person. So they go together, they work together, and to have the strongest brand possible, you have to work on both pieces. So in this module, a little bit country, a little bit rock and roll, we went through a lot of different exercises to help you nail down what your blog brand is going to be. And I just want you to keep in mind that we have that one more piece coming up, which is your personal branding, but they go together. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. So let's see if you have any questions, and then we can let you go. And I know that you have all commented that you're behind, and that's totally fine. So if you have questions, like as you're going through the module, just pop them in to Project Blog Facebook group, Project Blog Stars, and I'll answer those then. Okay. Yeah, you missed the Coach Jane. Thank you, Jane. No, don't literally tell. Yes, literally tell the stories, Jane. Okay, Jane's question is, when you say share your stories for branding, do you mean literally tell the stories? Yeah. So when, as part of my About page, and I think I've recently changed it so they're no longer on there, but within your blog posts and within your social media posts, give people a little glimpse of those stories from your own perspective. For me, I could be like, oh man, I remember when I was in college and I had to wear sweats and tennis shoes every single day. And it created in me this desire to be more glamorous, to have more feminine style in my life. And as a result of having this aversion to sweatpants and tennis shoes, my style has evolved into this. And then I've had to take it back a little because it was too much. It was too over the top. It didn't fit my life. I wasn't getting up and going to work every day, so I didn't have to get up and get dressed, in this like professional looking outfit. It was perfectly fine for me to be wearing jeans, and then I can glam them up a little bit with maybe, a great pair of earrings and a wedge heel instead of a, stiletto, and a nice shirt instead of a t-shirt. Okay, so I take a piece of my branded story and I incorporate it into my content. So that's how you use your stories. Because other women need to know you, and they need to know where you're coming from, and they need to know your experiences so that they can relate to you, and they can be like, oh yeah, I'm just like that, or I see a piece of me in that story. So sharing your own personal stories. In fact, I was going to share this on social media. I just want to tell you this really quick. Jenna Kutcher, I think is her name. I'll tag it for you to see it. But I was just reading, she is, I don't even know what size she is, but she's, plus size. She's healthy. She's maybe a 12, maybe a 14, something like that. And her husband is this buff, fit, cut looking dude. And apparently there's been some chatter online, how people are, about how she, as this voluptuous, curvy woman, could land this fit, hot guy that has all these muscles, right? Like they're a mismatched couple. And people are talking really negatively about it. And she was just saying in this Instagram post that she shared how her emotion of, people asking her, how do you feel about that story getting out into the world and people talking about you in such a way? And she was saying, if it hadn't happened, I wouldn't have that story to share with other women. And that just gives me the chills because it's so beautiful. It put her in an uncomfortable position, probably hurt her feelings, probably made her upset, probably made her question herself and her body and her look. But because she has enough confidence and enough support from her husband, she was able to work her way through that. And it's probably a day-to-day bless and release for her, where she has to bless those people who are talking bad and release them and move on with her life and not let them affect her. But because she went through that, she is able to share that story with other women who are probably going through the same thing, where they're being body shamed for the body that they have. And she's absolutely adorable, and she models swimsuits and these sexy little outfits, and she's really, really cute, and I'm glad that it didn't make her close in and hide. So that's how sharing your story is going to help other people who are kind of in a similar situation. So yes, talk about your story. Pick, what I'm saying, pick 3 to 5 branded stories that you want to share, and you kind of play them on repeat, little pieces of it. You don't need to share your entire life with people. But Jane, maybe you want to share about, how you don't have support from your ex-husband. That's a single mom story, and lots of moms are going to relate to that ex-husband that's non-supportive. The moms who have an ex-husband who pays child support on time, who visits with the kids, she's not going to have that same connection with you, but that's okay. You don't need to connect with everybody. You want to connect with the people who have that same story that you can help them through it, okay? Let's see what else. Sleep issues. Yeah, I know, Jane, but when you edit your closet, oh, hey, Tiffany. When you edit your closet, and we're going to get to that in that module, then everything in your closet that you happen to just throw on is going to be fabulous. Okay, and we're not talking about spending a lot of money, and I'm not talking about brand name items. I'm talking about discovering pieces that look good on your body, that feel good to you, that feel like your personal style. Then you can grab and go, and it's super easy, and you're going to look great, and you're going to feel great, more importantly. Yeah, definitely, Jane, thank you for saying that. You're behind, you've been reading lessons but not doing the work, okay? The exercises and the journaling prompts that I'm giving you guys throughout the lessons are super important, because when you actually do the work and you're taking notes and you're thinking through the process, you're learning more, and it's going to stick better versus just reading through something and being like, oh, I think she mentioned something about, and not really understanding it for yourself and how to apply it for yourself. So I know that all of this stuff takes time. And if you guys honestly feel like I'm giving too much information, I need to know that too. I don't want it to be this overwhelming process. I'm trying to deliver above and beyond. But if it's feeling like too much and you're going to abandon the process because of that, please let me know that so that I can adjust what I'm delivering to you. And you're always going to have it, so you can always go back to it. So if right now isn't the time for you to really dig deep into some of these lessons, make a note of it someplace that you're going to see and go back to that. Okay, narrow down my house in visualization. Okay, Jane, you're going to just keep redoing that. Like I said on, I don't know if you actually saw that post in Project Blog where I was talking about my own personal visualization. The pine trees were such a confusing element to me because I always thought in my head we were going to end up on the ocean, on the beach of an ocean. And so when I saw the pine trees, and I suppose you can have pine trees if you're, maybe more on the northern coast in the U.S., but to me it was such a confusing piece of the visualization. And the more I did it, the more I understood, okay, waves aren't crashing on this water. It doesn't have the same smell as the ocean does. doesn't have the same feel. You know, when you're sitting there with your eyes closed and you're trying to visualize this made up place, you know, those details don't always become clear immediately. So the more that you do that visualization exercise that we did last week, the more clear it's going to become. And if it changes, it's okay. Don't freak out about that. It just means something in your life has led to the point where there is going to be that change. And that's just your subconscious telling you that these changes are coming, that they're different, and it's okay. Just embrace them. Don't think about it too much. Really just replay the video so you hear me talking, or you can even record it for yourself on your phone, voice memo, and you can record that and listen to that yourself, and just be. Just close your eyes, just cross your legs, just get comfortable and just be. And if your mind floats off someplace else, you know, try to bring it back. Okay, wait, I'm supposed to be visualizing this. But you just really want it to be free flow. And that's why the more you do it, the more information you're going to receive. So try not to think, what is my perfect house? Where do I want to live in 20 years? Just let it come to you. Let your subconscious do that work for you. Read through the lessons. Good, Tiffany. I'm glad. Take your time, do the prompts, do the journaling. I know a lot of times, like, I am guilty of this. I've gone through things. I'm like, I don't want to journal this. I'll just do the worksheet. I'll just do the lesson. I'll just do whatever. And I don't necessarily do the journal prompt. But I put that in there because I know it's important to do. So reflection is a huge part of the learning process. What did this lesson mean to me? And you can journal beyond the prompt that I give you. If you feel like there's a sticking point or something you're super excited about, write it out so you don't forget. Super important. Yeah, it's just fitting it in. I know, Jane. I realize I should have been working on one lesson. Okay, good, Jane, you saw that. Okay, Tiffany, so yeah, if you guys have been using the Clarity Calendar, put on your Clarity Calendar, and it doesn't even have to be daily, maybe every other day, that you commit to working on one lesson. You don't have to go through the whole module in one sitting. In fact, it's better if you don't, because what it does is it allows that information to sink in and be absorbed, and allows your subconscious mind to be working on that. And you're going to have aha moments when you're not even working on it. You're going to be out in the yard doing something, going for a walk, playing with your kids, working on something totally different, and something's going to hit you and you're going to be like, oh, we talked about this in this lesson. Now I get it, how I can apply it. Write it down so you don't forget. It's super important to really keep track, because as busy as we all are, and the lack of sleep that we all have, some more than others, Jane, you have to write stuff down. You just have to. The older I get, the more I realize that. Clarity Calendar, I think I missed that. Yeah, Clarity Calendar was that first week, and I'm not sure exactly what lesson it's in, but it's a download, and I had invited you to print it off, but you can totally just do it within your journal so that you're not wasting ink and paper. But if you don't want to do that, what you can do, just so you have that format, is take it to someplace like a Kinko's or a copy place, so it's cheaper, and just print off 365. So you have one for every day, and then put them in a 3-ring binder. And that way you already have the format and you can just fill it in real quick. I think I accidentally left off the letter. What do you mean, Tiffany? You left off a letter on my email sign up? Okay, Clarity Calendar. I'm going to look up what lesson that's on, and I'll post it below where you guys can find that. I know it's in there, but I'm not sure which place it's at exactly. Clarity Calendar is just going to help you get organized. It's going to you went through and you did your yearly goals, your monthly goals, your weekly goals, and then the clarity calendar is your daily goals. What tasks do I want to get done in each section of your life? Because like I said in the module, your life is not 100% blogger. Okay, you still have a family, you still have to take care of your health, you still have to take care of your well-being, and your other relationships. So even if it's adding to your clarity calendar, write a letter to grandma, because everybody still loves to get mail. Send a card to a sick friend, just those little tasks in all these different areas of your life so that you accomplish more than just your blog, because you will have burnout if all you're doing is your blog. Okay, so I want to make sure you have this good balance. All right, so I will link below the video where that clarity calendar is, okay? All right, any other questions, ladies? Yeah, social media can control your life too. We'll talk about that in the social media thing, but I get you. Trying to run 2 accounts and I haven't even posted on one account for like over a week, and it's sad. But yeah, it is what it is, and we'll talk about ways to means to streamline that, and using your blog content and repurposing social media content, and everything just kind of works in this circle, and so that you're not writing new content every single time that you have to post online. All right, ladies, have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for being here. And again, as you're going through things, pop in questions. I'm available throughout the week to answer them for you. Take care. Bye. Have a great day.